After the death of King Solomon, the pages of Israel's history record a turbulent and decisive transition. Solomon's reign, marked by wisdom, wealth, and grand achievements, came to an end, leaving behind a kingdom that had experienced both glory and the heavy cost of its own greatness. The construction of the temple and the kingdom's ambitious projects required high taxes and a massive labor force. This heavy burden began to generate dissatisfaction among the tribes and the population as a whole. The people who once admired Solomon now felt the weight of obligations imposed in the name of royal splendor. The political atmosphere grew increasingly tense, with rising discontent among the tribes. Social issues also intensified, as the gap between classes became more evident. While an elite benefited from Solomon's achievements, much of the population suffered under the consequences of those policies. This environment of division and unrest set the stage for Rehoboam's rise and for decisions that would completely change the course of Israel's history. And from this point forward, we will see the kingdom begin to collapse. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me until the end. Rehoboam, unlike his father, takes the throne in an extremely complex situation. Solomon left behind a magnificent legacy, but also a weary and burdened people. There was a widespread expectation that the new king would ease the heavy demands of the past. The people longed for a leader who understood their struggles, someone willing to listen and act wisely. At a crucial moment, Rehoboam meets with the representatives of the tribes of Israel. This meeting was not just symbolic, it was a turning point that would define the future of the kingdom. During this gathering, the people openly express their suffering. They speak about the weight of taxes, forced labor, and the excessive demands of the previous reign. Their message was clear: lighten the burden or face the consequences. Faced with this situation, Rehoboam finds himself torn between two opposing sets of advice. On one side were the elders, wise and experienced men who deeply understood the kingdom. They advised the king to act with humility, to listen to the people, and to reduce their burdens in order to bring peace and stability. On the other side were the younger advisors, driven by a more rigid and authoritarian mindset. They encouraged Rehoboam to show strength, increase pressure, and impose respect through fear. Caught between these two paths, Rehoboam chooses to follow the advice of the young men. He adopts a harsh and inflexible stance, refusing to ease the people's suffering. This decision quickly sparks outrage. Discontent rises like a storm. The northern tribes, led by Jeroboam, can no longer tolerate the oppression. Faced with the king's refusal to listen, they make a radical decision: separation. Thus, the northern kingdom is born, known as Israel, while Rehoboam remains in the south, ruling over the kingdom of Judah. After the division, Rehoboam attempts to respond. He gathers an army to regain control over the north. However, God intervenes. Through a clear message, the Lord commands them not to fight against their own brothers. The division, according to God, was part of a greater plan. In the Book of Kings, chapter 12, verse 24, we see that everything was under his sovereign control. Meanwhile, in the northern kingdom, God sends prophets like Ahijah to warn Jeroboam about his path. He is given a promise of a lasting dynasty, but with one condition: obedience to God's principles. Otherwise, serious consequences would follow. But driven by fear, especially the fear that his people might return to Jerusalem, Jeroboam makes a tragic decision. He builds altars with golden calves in Bethel and Dan, creating alternative centers of worship. This act not only distances the people from God, but also establishes idolatry within the kingdom. This moment marks not just a political division, but a spiritual one. Meanwhile, in the south, Rehoboam rules Judah, now a smaller kingdom, but still connected to the lineage of David. Jerusalem remains the religious center, and the temple continues to stand. Even so, Rehoboam's reign was far from easy. He faced internal struggles, external threats, and periods of instability. According to the Book of Chronicles, Rehoboam ruled for 17 years. After his death, his son Abijah took the throne. Jeroboam ruled for 22 years. The Bible states that he died and was succeeded by his son Nadab. However, this divided kingdom would not last forever. The northern kingdom, marked by kings who frequently turned away from God, lasted only about 2 centuries. In 722 BC, the Assyrian Empire conquered Samaria, the capital of Israel. The people were taken into exile and scattered among the nations. The southern kingdom, Judah, lasted longer, but faced a similar fate. In 586 BC, Babylon invaded Jerusalem. The temple was destroyed, and a large portion of the population was taken captive. In the end, Rehoboam's decision to choose harshness over wisdom not only divided the kingdom but also set the stage for its eventual downfall. If you enjoyed this story, leave a comment below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. God bless you. Folded hands.